Hi, I'm Jennifer Hunt of OpusEd, one of the artist partners here at Willow Elementary. I've had the honor and privilege of working with the third graders and their teachers during the past couple of months in their unit on influence. In their classes, they have learned about the structure and function of the U.S. government and about how activists have influenced social change throughout history and today. With me, they've learned how music and activism have blended through time. We have explored musical elements and the form and genre of the blues. Students learned how to play the xylophones and wrote their own blues song lyrics, both personally and as a class. They learned that throughout history, the blues have helped people process and communicate both simple and complex ideas and emotions through music. Each class then chose their activists to focus on, and we wrote songs about them. They created original lyrics based on their research.
They then created instrumental intros based on qualities of their activist.
They then worked in groups to create tableaus to reflect the lives of the activist.
And then exhale out, I want to hear like an ocean sound, like a wave.
As part of OpusEd Connect, a guest artist and teacher series funded in part by Napa Valley Education Foundation and Arts Council Napa Valley, students worked with Valerie Trout, a blues and jazz singer and songwriter and musical activist from Oakland. She helped us workshop her blues songs and taught us the Freedom Song
And her song, I Rise.
Sharice David has a big voice, or she has a big voice. She has a big voice. Can you do that? She has a big voice. Good. She has. I sing, you sing, we sing together. I wanna be one, we walk together. Yes.
I play, you play, we play together.
We rise together. We rise forever.
We rise forever.
We rise.
We rise together. We rise forever.
Great. Let's try that one.
Alex Shaw, a musical activist and percussionist from Philadelphia, zoomed in to teach us about
The music and movement of Capoeira Angola in Brazil, and how it has been both a form of resistance and cultural celebration for hundreds of years.
Here comes the male Lua. Everybody does negativo. Go down, 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 down. Yes, and back up. Let's go. Back up.
students had a special visit from one of the activists they were studying, U.S. Representative Sharice Davids, who is one of the first Native American women in Congress.
I tell people, please call me representative, not congresswoman, because that's my job. I'm a representative.
How did you have the courage to be one of the first Native women in the U.S. Congress?
Well, when I started running, I didn't know that there had never been a Native woman in Congress before. And it wasn't, what I think is really interesting about that is it's because I assumed, because I know so many Native women who are so smart and driven and do work to help their communities, that I kind of thought that, it didn't occur to me that maybe it had never happened before.
Students rehearsed for hours and hours and assessed themselves and set goals to prepare the performance you're about to see.
The students will tell you a little bit more about the activists they chose in their class. Please sit back and enjoy our performance.
Our class chose Harry Tubman, Alice Paul, Thurgood Marshall, and Rosa Parks as our activists to show what activists go through in their lives. They all had a great influence on the world by helping to make change. They took risks to try to make our country's laws more fair and kind to all types of people.
2, 1, 2, 3.
Harriet Tubman was a part of the anti-slavery society. Harriet Tubman was a part of the anti-slavery society. She saved 300 slaves and hid them away in the basement. Alice Paul wanted women's right to vote. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo. Alice Paul wanted women's right to vote. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo. She marched, she gave speeches, she changed women's lives. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo. Thurgood Marshall was arguing for civil rights, right to vote, right to school, human rights. Thurgood Marshall was arguing for civil rights, right to vote, right to school, human rights. He became Supreme Court Justice and changed the laws. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo. Rosa Parks was tired. She deserved to sit down on the bus, on the bus, on the bus. Rosa Parks was tired. She deserved to sit down on the bus, on the bus, on the bus. Her actions led to the bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo.
2, 1, 2, 3.
Harriet Tubman was a part of the anti-slavery society. Harriet Tubman was a part of the anti-slavery society. She saved 300 slaves and hid them away in the basement. Alice Paul wanted women's right to vote. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo. Alice Paul wanted women's right to vote. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo. She marched, she gave speeches, she changed women's lives. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo. Thurgood Marshall was arguing for civil rights, right to vote, right to school, human rights. Thurgood Marshall was arguing for civil rights, right to vote, right to school, human rights. He became Supreme Court Justice and changed the laws. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo. Rosa Parks was tired. She deserved to sit down on the bus, on the bus, on the bus. Rosa Parks was tired. She deserved to sit down on the bus, on the bus, on the bus. Her actions led to the bus boycott in Montgomery, Alabama. Doobie-doo, doobie-doo, doobie-doo.
Harlem by Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat, or crust and sugar over like a syrupy sweet? Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or does it explode?
Follow the drinking Lord. Follow the drinking Lord. For the old man's awaiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking Lord. When the sun comes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking Lord. For the old man's awaiting for to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking Lord.
Our class chose Claudette Colvin, Rosa Parks, and Martin Luther King Jr. as our activists because they all had something in common.
They started the bus boycott, which was important because it helped
and Jim Crow laws in the South.
Rosa Parks and Claudette Colvin refused to give their seats up in the bus. Martin Luther King united people for the bus boycott by marching and giving speeches.
They made our world a more fair and peaceful place to live in.
One, two, three.
Segregation was a problem. It just wasn't fair. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. Segregation was a problem. It just wasn't fair. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. Jim Crow laws hurt black people, but many didn't seem to care. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. Claudette Colvin was a black teenage girl just trying to go home, go home. Claudette Colvin was a black teenage girl just trying to go home, go home. She refused to give her seat up and influenced Rosa Parks. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. They told Rosa Parks, move to the back of the bus. She said, no, 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 no. They told Rosa Parks, move to the back of the bus. She said, no, 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 no. She refused and went to jail and asked MLK for help. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. Martin Luther King led the bus boycott. Oh yes, yes. Martin Luther King led the bus boycott. Oh yes, yes. Over a year of walking, Montgomery finally changed the laws. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo.
One, two, three.
Segregation was a problem. It just wasn't fair. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. Segregation was a problem. It just wasn't fair. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. Jim Crow laws hurt black people, but many didn't seem to care. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. Claudette Colvin was a black teenage girl just trying to go home, go home. Claudette Colvin was a black teenage girl just trying to go home, go home. She refused to give her seat up and influenced Rosa Parks. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. They told Rosa Parks, move to the back of the bus. She said, no, 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 no. They told Rosa Parks, move to the back of the bus. She said, no, 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 no. She refused and went to jail and asked MLK for help. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo. Martin Luther King led the bus boycott. Oh yes, yes. Martin Luther King led the bus boycott. Oh yes, yes. Over a year of walking, Montgomery finally changed the laws. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo.
I Have a Dream, a poem for choral speaking by Joan Nichols.
The children marched 1,000 strong. Some were only 6 years old. Police arrested them. School buses carried them directly to jail. A policeman looked at one small girl and asked, "What do you want?" She looked at him and said, "Freedom!"
Nothing could stop those children. On the way to jail, they chanted,
"We want freedom! We want freedom! We want freedom!"
The children marched. They prayed. They wouldn't turn back. The police and the firemen stood waiting. Orders were given. "Stop those children any way you can." But the police and the firemen fell back. And the children marched through. No one stopped them. No one hurt them. The children sang,
"I got freedom!" Martin Luther King spoke, and we listened, for he was saying what we needed to hear.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday.
Our class chose Cherise Davids because she is one of the first Native American women in the U.S. Congress. We found out that she is also very friendly. She fights for her rights, she helps and inspires people. And she has worked really hard to get to the spot where she's at now. We were very excited that we could actually be her because most of the other activists we study in school are no longer living.
heard. We all deserve to be seen and heard. It's our right. Dooby-doo, dooby-doo, dooby-doo.
The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? Somehow we've witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. So we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew. Even as we hurt, we hope that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division.
In this truth, in this faith, we trust. For while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we left. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it.
One, two, here we go.
Can't you hear them singing? Can't you hear them singing? Marching through the streets, marching through the streets. People talk about freedom, people talk about freedom. For every heartbeat, for every heartbeat. We are living a dream, we are living a dream. Of Dr. Martin Luther King, of Dr. Martin Luther King. We're over the mountain top, we're over the mountain top. Let freedom ring, let freedom ring. From little left high, little light shine, little left high, little light shine, little raise high. Voice in the sky, little raise high, voice in the sky, little wave high. Hands in the air, little wave high, hands in the air, little dance. There's freedom everywhere, little dance. There's freedom everywhere. Freedom is yours, freedom is mine. We all have a right to the freedom of life. Freedom is yours, freedom is mine. We all have a right to the freedom of life. Freedom is yours, freedom is mine. We all have a right to the freedom of life. Freedom is yours, freedom is mine. We all have a right to the freedom of life.
The performance to me was to become less shy. Because when I started my first performance in kindergarten, after it was finished, I became less shy. And when I keep on doing performances, it makes me get less shy.
To learn more about music.
And what about music would you guys like to learn?
Activism.
activists.
Like musical activism?
Yeah. Maybe like we can write more about more activists.
Mm-hmm. Like more songs?
Yeah.
What that might be like?
I didn't really know about activists. Now I do. And what that makes me want to do is become an activist one day.
And what kind of issue would you want to change? Do you think?
That people would not be mean to each other, and so that people, when they're really mad at someone, they don't really have to be mad. They could really just be nice to each other and be kind to one another.
The way the performance influenced me, Rosa Parks, she has a right for women. Like, she said no on a segregated bus.
And how does that make you feel, or what does that make you want to do?
It makes me feel independent and want to do more stuff in the world.